okay? But what I want to do this morning is appeal to you guys as well, the live viewing audience, to let you guys know what's going on and the fact that at this point right now, I do need your support. Allow me to explain. So, here's what's been going on. In the last year, when I lost my partnership over at Twitch and I moved over to YouTube, it's been a struggle. What I mean by that is immediately the day that that happened, about a year ago, I lost a lot of financial support that I was getting from Twitch. I went from having 900 plus subs a month down to between 200 and 300 here on YouTube. That was a big loss of revenue for me. And in addition to that, of course, I had a ton of cheering and stuff that used to happen over there all the time. And when I came to YouTube, the super chats were way lower than what I used to get with cheers over on Twitch. Okay? Now, I will absolutely tell you this. Some of the good news here is that tips in the last year did help to supplement and adjust for that. If you remember, when I became a full-time YouTuber again a year ago, I upped all of the rewards and tiers for tips on my streams. It used to only be like I was trying to raise $100 a stream in tips, and now I do $150. Why did I do that? Well, because I had lost revenue, big lost revenue from moving from Twitch to YouTube, okay? And that's when we instituted the 3-tier reward system of Gunner glasses if I raise $50, and then it would be the hat if I raise 100, and then a vest if I raise 150. For the most part, this has been a very successful system. Although there's been some tweaks and adjustments, I added more hats and more vests and things over the year. And, you know, in general, it works. People like the 3-tier system. It seems like we're always working towards something new, another reward. Okay? Now, all that being said, things have been, you know, good in this regard all last year and early this year. You know, early this year, I started playing Skyrim in January. That seemed to be the playthrough that people showed up for and supported in droves. Then came the giant busy month of February with games like Sifu, Horizon Forbidden West, Elden Ring. And those lasted, you know, for months, some of those playthroughs, okay? But basically what's happened is, if you haven't noticed, in the last 2 weeks, all the new releases have finally dried up, okay? I finally kind of finished up every new game. The only game technically considered a new release that I'm playing right now would be WWE 2K22. But exactly as I surmised would happen is what's happened. People who are big fans of wrestling are tuning in and supporting the WWE streams. But that, at this point, is a smaller percentile of my audience. I would probably argue maybe 25% of my audience likes that. I used to be a very huge fan of pro wrestling, and I used to follow all the shows and know all the plot lines and know everything about it. I have not watched pro wrestling in over 2 years. So because of that, my viewer base for wrestling stuff has dwindled, okay? Maybe 2-3 years ago, WWE would have been more popular. Today, it's just kind of okay, but it's not mainstream big attention because, quite frankly, I'm not really into wrestling anymore, and I think a lot of fans who were into that certainly are not around anymore to watch me play a wrestling game. You know what I'm saying?
There's another thing that happened. Last week, I got gifted memberships on this channel, okay? And what happened was, gifted memberships activated. Within a day, I got over 100 gifted memberships. Wow, awesome. We hit all the goals for the month and everything. And immediately, the tip support that's incredibly important to my business and just my day-to-day operations here dried up. Now, I'm not saying entirely. What I'm saying is, on the regular, before I had the gifted memberships, all right, on any given day, we would usually at least hit the tier 1 tips goal on a stream, sometimes hit tier 2. In a rare case, hit the tier 3 goal, which would be a really good day for me. But in general, I would be hitting at least tier 1, 2 goals regularly, all right? It wasn't even like, oh, a rare occurrence. Commonly, this would happen, okay? And that was because the other support of, you know, the high number of subs I had on Twitch and all the cheering and everything over there dramatically reduced when I came over here. People got used to kind of tipping to support the streams, all right? But here's what happened. With those gifted memberships, boom, my tips took a hit immediately. So last week, I made a video here on the channel basically saying it was a pre-stream podcast just like this one. And I said, guys, thank you so much for those gifted memberships. That is going to help this channel in the long term. This is going to lead to long-term growth because every time typically that someone gets a gifted membership, I would say every 10, 20 people who get one Usually 1 or 2 people decide to keep it, and they'll renew it because they like the features and they like everything that they got out of that. So even though right now you're seeing short-term growth, it very well could lead to long-term growth in the future. It does help the channel concretely in the future, okay? Excellent. But I don't see any benefit from gifted memberships for over a month. I will not get any kind of support from that until mid to late June, all right? Which is great when that comes, but we're not there yet. And the way that this business operates, especially in the last year since I lost all that support from having Twitch be an ongoing major support like it was, is that the tips pay for the day-to-day operations. Any tips that I make in a typical day would pay, for example, the cost of a new game, the cost of a subscription service that I'm getting, the cost of food, gas, normal kind of bills that I have to clear and things like that. And you may say, well, if your tips pay for all that stuff, then what about all the money you make on YouTube from things like memberships and super chats? That pays all of my staple bills that are a regular thing every month. For example, my mortgage, my car payment, my insurances, of which there's several different levels of insurance, cell phone bills, all those other things that are staple every month gotta pay, taxes. That's all based on my YouTube income. In fact, the moment usually that I get paid by YouTube and it clears, I sit down for about an hour and I clear all my bills and then there's nothing left. That's reality. And that's just, for most people, that's probably reality. On payday, the money's in, the money's right back out, right? That's adult life. Nothing you can do about that, okay? But the misconception here is that, oh, Phil's just doing really good because take a look, he's got a bunch of gifted memberships now, and we know that, things have been up for him for the last few months on YouTube with the Elden Ring playthrough and everything, and so everything must be great. In fact, the truth is, since I got those gifted memberships, okay, everything dipped. And in the last week and a half, if you take a look at my streams, we're barely hitting a tier 1 tips goal, which is the Gunner glasses, on a stream. It's been a rarity if I hit a tier 2 goal, which is the opposite of what was happening before the new releases dried up and before the gifted memberships enabled. In that case, it was, regularly Phil is hitting these goals. And if that's the cash that I use for liquidity in my business, for those who don't know, liquidity means your ability to pay bills and spend cash as opposed to, assets or things behind the scenes that are coming later, you see. Since that slowed down, the last week has been very rough, okay? Barely being able to afford stuff and being very tight. Now, I don't like talking about this shit. This is my problem, not your problem. This is my personal life. I wish that I was in a situation where I could have budgeted better. I wish that I was in a situation where I had flexibility to get around this. I'm not. I declared bankruptcy 2 years ago. I have no credit. I can't take out a loan or have a credit card or have anything that I can do. I can't even take out a loan on my house or a mortgage because my credit is in the tubes from the bankruptcy, right? So I have nothing to fall back on besides, hopefully, tips. That's what I pay for the day-to-day stuff with, okay? And now in particularly, recently some other stuff's been going on that I cannot reveal to you guys, and the reason is, every time that I reveal something personal about going on with me or my family or things behind the scenes, it blows up, it gets spun out of context, it gets warped, distorted, and it becomes defamatory because of scumbags on the internet, okay? So I'm not going to do that this time. There's times in the past that I have revealed shit. I'm not going to do that now because I feel like it would just... First of all, it's stuff that you guys don't even really need to concern yourselves with. Okay, that's number one. It has nothing to do with me streaming a game or doing a podcast. It has nothing to do with me putting my face forward to you guys and doing my content on a daily basis. It's shit behind the scenes, completely unrelated, but it still affects me in my life. Okay, I keep punching my microphone. And it sucks that it's affecting me this way, but it is. So it's kind of like a double whammy. At a time when things were already really financially tight for me, things are kind of drying up in regards to support on a daily stream. So it's kind of like, it is a double whammy. It's like, damn, not only are things slowing down when normally that would be okay, but there's also no game releases and everything. It's like everything at once. Okay? So, here's the deal. All right? I appreciate everyone going out of their way to jump on the whole gifted memberships thing. It's going to help this channel in the long run. It absolutely is. I love hitting new milestones. I love adding new emotes. But right now, I cannot get long-term success at the expense of short-term success. You know what I'm saying? The reason that this has worked is that it's a balance between the two. Daily on a stream, we hit tips goals, and then I also get other things like super chats, super stickers, super thanks, memberships. Okay? It's that balance where it works. Right now, what's happened in the past week or two, I feel it's all veered towards the whole memberships thing, and because of that, the tips have slowed down. All right? Now, there's not much I can do about that besides appeal to you guys and say, hey, listen, here's the deal of what's going on. Things are hurting right now. And because of that, if you were thinking of contributing to a stream, if you could tip me, that would be great. Okay? That's all I can really say. I'm not going to sit here and ask for anything above and beyond what you guys are already doing. As you guys know, as I've told you, and we talked about this as a subject matter on with these pre-streams recently. All right? I strive to do things very differently from other content creators on the internet. There are no paid product placements in my videos, right? There are no advertisements that I'm doing. There's no sponsorships. I'm not paying a game as a paid promotion. I could do that. I get those offers too. On a daily basis, I'll get an email from some indie game studio looking to promote their new game and saying, hey, we'll send you a code for the game. We'll do this promotional deal with you. I don't do that shit. You guys know that, right? We're getting there. But right now, it's just a tough time because of stuff going on behind the scenes combined with a direct reduction in support on the daily streams. It's all compounded. And I'll be honest with you, like last night I sat down with Kat and we were talking, we're like, damn, things are not good right now. This really sucks. How are we going to get by doing this? I said, well, sadly, really, I have nothing to fall back on here. Nothing. I have to basically appeal to my audience and hope that we can at least get through the next couple of weeks until things will naturally just pick up anyway. You see what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And, another thing now, of course, people are being very ridiculous. You just take sponsorship opportunities immediately. It's not how it works. It's not how it works at all. It's you get offered the opportunity and you have a certain time frame window to accept or decline it, and then the opportunity goes away. I've had these in the past. I probably had one, if I remember, in the last couple of weeks. There was an indie game that contacted me about one, but they don't come every day. It's not like, oh, look, things really slowed down for support on my streams. Now I take 17 sponsorship opportunities and now everything's fine. That's not how life works. Okay? So if I were a giant YouTuber or a giant content creator, maybe they do get a million offers. I don't. Every once in a while I get one. And I always turn it down. All right? So, that being said, all right, I want to avoid having to be that person. It has been directly against my philosophy as a content creator over the years to take those kind of things because I don't want to be an advertiser. I want to be someone who, when I put out content, I feel it's meaningful, I feel it's fun, it's interactive, right? It's good stuff. It's not, Phil is here to shill for you today. Oh, and by the way, then half of what he does today can actually have some meaning. I just want to do what I love. That's since day one. When I started putting content out on the internet, that's exactly what it's been. Me doing what I love, and somehow I became popular for it. I don't know how. It just happened, okay? And you guys have kept me going year after year after year, all right? Pretty crazy, the amount of support that I've gotten. I know. And I want to say thank you for that, okay? So,